Hello, everyone. What keeps me awake at night? I'm sure no one is concerned about what keeps me awake at night, but I'm going to tell you what keeps me awake, and I'm going to explain some news stories that are going on in the world right now and put it down to a 5-year-old level and what it means for them. Hello, Ron Ron. How are you? It's a beautiful night here in Texas. Wonderful, wonderful. The cat's going in and out. I have the door open, and the bugs are attracted to my softbox light. So you may see a few shadows fly by at any time. How is everybody's first day of spring here in the northern hemisphere? First day of fall in the southern hemisphere. Expect electromagnetic activity, so the auroras may be visible this evening, and also expect seismic activity going on in the earth. We've already had a couple 6 not and 6.3 earthquakes today in the southern hemisphere. Um, one off of Vanuatu and one in the Philippines. Or no, not not in the Philippines, off Antarctica, at the southern tip of the Americas. So I am doing tarot readings tonight. If you want in on tarot reading, just write me, put a comma after that, and write your question. And if you do that all in caps for me, it'll be easier for me to see in the comments. Coming to you live from Texas. My name is Thomas. I've been a tarot reader since 1996. We have a guest kitty in the house. Oh, you are very handsome, sir. Go. Why don't you go outside and play with Ron? Um, and when we when we get a question, I will start off with 3 card reads. These are mini readings and for entertainment purposes only. Um, Elijah, my day's going great. It's just about midnight here in Texas. Hello, Rossi. I'm keeping you up late. It's nearly 1 for you. I thought we'd start out with some news stories, and I asked my AI server to give me some top news stories and explain it to me like a 5-year-old, and then why it affects us, and how it can affect us. Yeah, I put a lot of people to sleep. Um, I I have that monotonous drone. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Rossi. Okay, so my AI bot said, the world is going through some very grown up problems right now. Here are five of the heaviest stories from the news this week, explained for a 5-year old. Number one, the big fight in the Middle East. The headline: Israel hits Tehran with a wave of strikes as Iran war escalates. Source: CBS News. What's happening? Two groups of grown ups in countries far away, Israel and the United States and Iran, they're having a very big, scary fight. They're using loud machines and tools that hurt things. They're very angry and haven't found a way to use their words to stop yet. How it affects you? When grown-ups in the world are this angry, it makes everyone feel a little bit worried and sad. You might see more serious faces in the news or hear your parents talking hush hush voices because they want everyone to be safe. Clip that. Number two, the boat road is blocked. The headline: 2026 Strait of Hormuz crisis. Traffic drops by 70%. Wikipedia Daily News. What's happening? What is happening? Imagine a very narrow water path that big toy boats must go through to bring gas for our cars. Because of the big fight mentioned previously, some people have blocked that path. Now the big boats can't get through to deliver the fuel. How it affects you? Because the boat road is closed, gas for the car costs a lot more money. This means your family might have less money for extra treats or toys because they have to spend so much just to drive to school or to the grocery store. Clip that. Story number three, the phone free school day. The headline: Kansas governor signs K to 12 bell to bell cell phone usage ban. Kansas Public Radio. What's happening? A leader, the governor of Kansas, decided that when big kids go to school, they have to put their phones in a special sleeping spot until the school day is over. They want kids to look at the teachers and friends instead of bright screens. How it affects you? If you have an older brother or sister, they might be extra grumpy when they get home because they couldn't use their phones all day. But it also means when you get older and go to big kids' school, you'll spend more time playing and learning with real people. Clip that. Story number four, helping all girls be treated fairly. The headline: U.S. votes against adopting UN Women's Report over language concerns. The Jurist. What's happening? A group of people from all over the world, the United Nations, met to talk about how to make sure girls and women are treated just as fairly as boys and men. They wrote a big paper about it. But the US and some other countries had a disagreement about some of the specific words used in the paper. How it affects you? Even though the grown-ups are arguing about the words, they are trying to make sure that the world is a fair place for everyone. It means people are working hard so that when you grow up, you can do anything you want to, no matter who you are. Clip that. Story 5, giving money back to families. The headline: Governor Kemp signs major tax relief bills for hardworking Georgians. Georgia Government News. What's happening? A leader in a place called Georgia signed a special paper that says the government is going to give some money back to families. It's like the government found some extra money in their piggy bank and decided to share it with the moms and dads. How this affects you? When families get a little extra money back, they might use it to buy more healthy food, pay for a fun gymnastics class, or just keep it safe for a rainy day. It helps the grown-ups in your house feel a little less stressed about money. So that's what we have in the news today. Yeah, I stayed on about 2 hours. I am able to read politics. I use Gemini AI. I think that's uh, a Google product, and also made the thumbnail for tonight's uh, session with that as well. Um, doo, doo, doo. So this is the wording of the prompt that I used. Give me recent world news stories, include the actual headlines, the news source, and a synopsis explaining the content at a 5-year-old's level and why this story affects the 5-year-old's life. Yeah, kids don't have quite the vocabulary understanding that adults do, and sometimes as an adult, I can't decipher what they're saying in the news at all. It's sort of like obfuscation by big words and wordy language, and I need things dumbed down. You know, I'm getting up there, and I don't retain a lot of language in the brain anymore. Well, I don't know that it's sanitized. I think it's just um, explaining to kids in words that they will understand, and uh, you know, if it's going to cost more for gas, then they can't get there. In the Strait of Hormuz is blocked. You can't go to you can't go to the dollar store and get your $3 neon plastic toy from China because it's sitting in a metal box on a boat, waiting to get passage uh, through the Strait of Hormuz. Um, so that sanitizes the supply chain, and then your $3 toy is going to cost $5 because they haven't been able to sell that toy for a couple months once they're able to get through. Rossi, do you have a political question that you would like me to answer? All the world leaders is BB alive? Are all these videos with BB AI? The one at the cafe, it says that people zoomed in on it, and the date on the cash register says 2024. So they're thinking it's a real video at the time, but you know, it was altered to show that BB only has 5 fingers. And the original one I saw of 6 fingers, it didn't look like he had 6 fingers to me. It was just the fat of the curl of his hand that showed up as an extra finger. Just from what I saw, um, only believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. because human memories are fallible, and that's why people picked out of a lineup um, only if they get convicted only because they were identified in a lineup. They are they are the human memory is fallible. We don't really know perception of time after the incidents happened, and we only get broad features. We don't know the exact details. Our memories are fallible. Um, but let's do a 3 card pull on that. I'm using the El Santo Tarot tonight. Suicide King. So if he's not alive, it wasn't by suicide. It was by smart drone, and it's definitely a war of um, unequaled costs when they can use a $5,000 drone and we have to shoot it down with a $2 million missile. Um, they're gonna win, um, as long as they can keep getting the cheap Chinese drones. So I would say that he's still alive, but if here we got water behind him. He's sitting on water. You see the little water behind him. So it's um, all the world leaders have had a had a missing bit in the last 5 years. Trump last month, missing for 5 days, or a couple months ago. Um, Deng Xiaoping not being seen for a week at a time. The Korean leader, and even Pootie. They've all had disappearing acts for a short amount of time. So, and everybody says, "Oh, it's a clone that they're using for public appearances," because he looks gaunt or he looks fat or he never had a dimple before. Um, it's politics. It's all politics, and um, if you've ever watched Mel Brooks's History of the World, um, they had the piss boy stand in for the king because they had advance news of an attempt on the king's life. So, there is opportunity for promotion. You can be a piss boy and be recruited to be king. His legs were lost. Uh, uh, it's it's sort of like American Beauty. You lost your job. You went to work and your job wasn't there. It wandered away. Yeah, he'll show up. He's just in a bunker somewhere, um, dirtying his diaper. If you can believe that world leaders depend on diapers. Well, a coma is not dead. Um, and we'd have to lost by drone. Yeah. Um, yeah, the place of work may have wandered away. Uh, yeah, we may have to have Hershey talk to her team and see if they can feel a life force going on. So, what else is going on in the world today other than a cold? Are you trying to take care of yourself, Rossi? Are you doing the lots of fluids? Is it a chest cold? Is it sinuses? Um, my colds usually start in the head and then the sinus strips, and then it will go into respiratory infections. Sinus head cold. So that does make it difficult to sleep um, because your nasal passages are blocked. And if you're not a mouth breather at night, um, you might be able to temporarily drain one side of the sinuses by laying on your side for a bit, but then it just fills back up. So, um, hot beverages, chicken soup, all those things to um, comfort food to take care of yourself and spoil yourself because I know there's no one around to spoil you, and I know when you're not feeling 100%, it's a chore to even think about assembling food or cooking for oneself. We have several people here. If you want a reading, just put me and a comma and then your question. And if you do that all in caps, I can see it in the chat a lot easier. And I can pull a 3-card mini tarot reading for you. Yeah, since may have to resort to a corkboard and map and a dart. When Hershey and I were living together, uh, there were high tension power lines across the street, and it didn't matter what material my pendulum was made; it was always swinging towards the high power lines. And so, whether it was magnetic ferrous metals or a string and a button, it just refused to go any other direction. So I haven't got my pendulums out to try here. The high power lines are about a mile away from here. And like I said, because of the spring equinox, the solar storms that we had, and the magnetic activity, um, look for more seismic activity in the next couple days. And um, whether you're in the higher latitudes or lower latitudes of the southern hemisphere or the higher in the northern hemisphere, go out and see if you can see the auroras, or um, see if Steve is out tonight. And uh, you're definitely going to get some more earthquake activity. We've already had two 6-point plus earthquakes today in the southern hemisphere. They're thinking that it's going to be a G4 magnetic storm with the coronal mass ejections from the sun in the last couple days. Um, I didn't feel different energy today when I woke up because uh, I didn't go to sleep last night, so I'm still up. Um, it was different because I was sort of on the brain fog spectrum, but I did do a lot of studying today. Um, I'm I'm looking for anybody in the community who's an artist and may want to help illustrate um, the Shadow Tarot deck that I've written the guide for, but just don't have the images for yet. I know I could do it all AI, but I wanted to have a cohesive look and structure, and um, a very definite color scheme for the different suits and the majors. So if anybody's an artist and wants to contact me, you can reach me at tarotyourway@gmail. And if you know any artistic friends that may want to um, join in an artistic project for 78 uh, illustrations, um, and would like to share in expense or profits, Kickstarter, self-published deck, or maybe even um, print on demand type thing. Yeah, she would be a good source to figure out like a how to publish deck. Hi, Josh. How's it going? You missed the news for 5-year-olds when the stream's over. Go back, and about 6 minutes in, I start doing the 5 top news stories explained to 5-year-olds. Diana is the artist. Well, and she also knows the tarot, so she would know. She wouldn't have to have explicit directions on what to put in for imagery and symbolism uh, in the cards. But I definitely have something in my mind how I picture it. So I'll just have to put each image into words in a broad sense, and sort of like Pixie did. She can fill in the other artistic and symbolic details. And I'm sure Galactic see her as well. Josh, I'm taking anything goes questions. If you put me, comma, and question all in caps, I'll be able to see it in the chat, and I'll do a little 3-card mini read for you from the Al Centro Tarot. Uh, that would be great. And just a reminder, if anybody didn't hit the thumbs up on their way in, if you take a moment and do that for me, it will really help. I'm doing these little segments in the evening just because I've neglected my channel for so long that I need to play catch up big time and um, not get thrown on off of YouTube for not publishing enough videos in the last 90 days. This tarot is called the Al Centro Tarot, and it's I would say, a brightly colored Renaissance Arthurian period art style for the deck. That's the guidebook. That's the box. And it is the El Centro Tarot, a 100-card deck and 144-page guidebook by Michael J. Auger, Auger. And it is mass market through US Game System, so it was not all that expensive. The item number is ALL100 if you want to order it. I got it through the Amazons because I have Amazon Prime and I'm too cheap to pay for shipping. But I pay for it every month, $16. But, that gets me several puzzles and several decks delivered every month, plus um, some medical supplies that are consumables that aren't covered by insurance and are not prescription type things. I get my alcohol swabs and my screw on pen needle tips for my insulins through them. And I take 4 shots a day. So in 25 days, I use a whole box of needles up. And if I have trouble puncturing the skin, I use an extra needle. So I'm going through them quickly. Yes, I was using this for shadow reads on Wednesday for one of my cards. I did that. I did a deck that Josh gave me, the Voices of the Wild, and then I also used what else did I use? I didn't use True Crime. Oh, Wednesday. I used Wednesday on Wednesday. Oh yeah, I bet that Amazon could give you a hernia. I ordered a massage table through them, and they ended up delivering it to the office, and the office had opened it up um, and didn't tell me that. Amazon told me they delivered it, but they didn't tell me where they delivered it. So I was going through the process of trying to track it down when I went to the office and said, "Hey, by the way, do you have a massage table?" And the lady behind the counter, thought, "Shit, Oh yeah, I see the UPS drivers in their little brown shorts here, and they have calf muscles galore. Uh, but they run at a trot. They don't. I've never seen one walking. They just run run back and forth to that truck and drive and drop, and I'm sure they got so many uh, packages that they have to deliver in a day's time. Yeah, I had a short-term roommate who did a stint for an Amazon contractor one weekend, and um, it's the Google Maps don't get you to where you need to go here in this city. All the subdivisions and addresses and uh, one-way roads into a neighborhood and the maze inside. Oh, I didn't know it was that many. Ooh. Well, they at least supplied a truck without a door for you, or without two doors. Yes, it is. And when I worked at the warehouse packing boxes, we would have we had a line of seven packers, and some days uh, we packed 250 orders up to 700 orders a day. Like um, they would run a Saturday picking shift, but there was no packers on Saturday, and so we had UPS, FedEx, and then a United States Postal Service small mail. I guess it would be like a third party carrier that contracted bulk shipping for them. And orders could be one thing or bulky things. You know, uh, Poster boards, pens, pencils, silk screening inks, picture frames with glasses. So there were all sorts of sizes of packaging, and if we didn't have a box specific for something, we would put boxes together and we'd call it a Frankenstein. Um, you know, there were there were boxes the size of mat boards, which were 32 inches by 40 inches, but that was like the biggest kind of flat pack boxes that we had that were pre-ready. Then we had tubes for posters and unstretched canvas, uh, that we could roll the canvas up in. Um, the silk screen supplies, the little squeegee, we sold it by the inch, so you have this 6 foot squeegee, and if they wanted uh, 12 of them, you'd have to go out and cut it apart and give them 1 foot of squeegee on the radial saw. And there was you had to make sure that you gave them 12 inches, but then you couldn't give them much more than 12 inches because there's a tolerance to the edge of the scrim where they're doing the silk screening. Here I am talking in sign language, and I'm sure that's not the, the, ASL for squeegee. The, the, ASL for squeegee. Well, it's good that you can get it. My communication skills are being tested here as of late. You know, I'm just like uh, a doddering old man that wandered off and um, you know check for solar alerts. Um, who's number two here? Me, Rossi. We got three others. I'm watching comments on the big screen. Oh, now it's just us. Chased them away. That's not very successful for somebody who's wanting to gain views and watch time. Oh yeah, that's I did give seismic warnings because I watched Stephen Burns earlier today. He's in Rome and he showed a picture of the not Pantheon and it's line up with the archway at noon for the it's not the solstice, the equinox, the vernal equinox or the venereal equinox. Just a diseased earth. Yeah, I watch him, and then I watch Dutch Sense for my uh, Earth seismic and volcano alerts. A message from your galactic guides. Okay, Rossi. Okay. We're going to start out with your Ace of Wands. And our Ace of Wands here, that's our fire suit. It's it's a beginning, and it is the promise of fulfillment of the suit. So find your creative passions, um, and fan the flame of them. Whether you need to start a new enterprise or if you need to turn a craft into an obsession that it possibly could sell for some extra moolah. Extra moolah right now is happy. Um, the Eight of Swords. You've self-imprisoned your self-imprisonment and blinded, but you're standing inside of the eight pointed star, which would be a beacon for your galactics to come down and rendezvous with you. Um, they're they're going to tell you to free yourself, not get caught up in pettiness of the earth. After all, it's just earth, and we don't consider you an advanced species. You've barely gotten off your planet. Only in the last 50 years have you been able to do that. Your outcome is the page disc reversed. So you're walking away from money and everything that you need to know about monetary things is is sort of old hat and routine for you, and um, you are a detail oriented person that uses math and can fill and understands spreadsheets and knows the equations, um, but you can turn those skills into real money, um, especially now that it's tax season, because there are a lot of people that do not understand the um, how to fill out a tax form, even with basic math, and let alone you know, if they've got two W-2s and can file a 1040 EZ, it's still difficult. But, if they have to fill out the 1040A form, um, they're going to be willing to pay you for your skills. Um, yeah, it's you'll have a you'll have a casual brush with them. They're not going to come down and lay hands on you, but they will make sure that their influence can be felt. Um, Sort of like if you were not feeling energetically, if you were feeling energetically different today, it's either because of the electromagnetic forces or being the vernal equinox. But you know, the balance of day and night is also a time where um, societies that have celebrated the heavens and studied them will get messages from the galactics, and they will be able to exert influence over you. Animes, thank you so much for the birthday gift. Uh, I ended up getting two decks of the same thing for the crime readings, and I am gonna when I send her Sheila Love box, I will give the second deck to her. But we've we've been using them. We've been reading about the missing major general and a person missing in California's uh, Angeles National Forest that is tied to the major general. And Monica Reza is her name, and she disappeared June 22nd of 2025. And she worked as one of the directors at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratories, and she holds a patent for an alloy being used in jet engines. Yeah, it, it, today was one of the big celebrations at Stonehenge, where the Druids and the pagans gathered to celebrate the rising of the sun at the easternmost point. Uh, before it starts its cycle northward throughout our summer. So, unlike eclipses where the people used to bang on pots and pans to chase the dragon away from eating light, we have a lot of superstitions. But thank you so much for sending me the deck, Anna. And it's going to get used, and it'll doubly get used by Hershey. I'm only starting my readings in true crime, but Hershey's been doing the true crime readings for a long time. I do know of Dr. Gale. I've seen her on several shows, and I think um, she had contact with Hershey when Hershey was living with me here in Houston. Absolutely, Josh. What question could the tarot enlighten you upon? Mr. Carter, Mr. Carter, ooh, 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 ooh. You have to be old to get that reference. Well, at your age, you need to know more things than in kindergarten. I remember in kindergarten, um, looking up on the wall, and there was a shoe with somebody's name in it, and there was a telephone with somebody's name in it. And I must have been gone the day that what those things meant. Uh, you knew how to tie your laces, and you knew your phone number by heart. And believe me, back in Iowa, we only had 4-digit dialing, so memorizing your telephone number was not a very big deal. You just had to know what town you lived in. What do you need to know about Epstein? That you stayed off the island and you stayed out of trouble and you stayed above the radar. Yeah, that's what doddering old fools do is they relive their childhood. So once I was clued in about what the telephone and the shoe was, then the hardest thing was learning to tie the laces because of not having finger dexterity yet at 5 to make the laces have bunny ears. Chronologically, no, but physically, my I've put my body through it, or my body was put through it. Let's put it that way. I Not everything was of my own. Um, oh, Epstein in the show, yeah, oh yeah, Juan Epstein, yeah, okay, not ex Epstein, Epstein, and there's another one that people are saying was a faked death. Horshack, Barbarino, Epstein, and Washington, right? I'll take worthless trivia for 400, Alex. So Josh, what's the question you want answered? Uh, what do you need to know? Is that the that's a pretty generic question, but I think we can. Julie. Julie was Mr. Crowder's girlfriend. And then he'd always tell her uncle, "Did I ever tell you about my uncle so and so?" And it'd be the setup for a joke. People coming into your universe. Well, people come and go. Um, some of them stay a week, some of them stay a month, some of them stay a season, some of them stay a year, and some of them come in and out of our lives um, like there was no time lost at all. You can pick up on conversations. Um, Tell me something good. Oh, I'm not. I'm not big enough to sue for copyright infringement. Uh, so, the people coming in and out of your life, Josh. We start out with the Eight of Wands. So that is movement, quick movement in one direction. Now, before you set the wands into motion, you need to have a target or a goal or somewhere to put your intentions so they can find their mark. I guess it's like a what is it, laser guidance system on missiles or something of that nature. Your second card is the Chevalier of Wands. So we're continuing in that suit, and the Jack of Wands. He's he's the he's not like the Jack of Cups. He's not the smooth talker, but he's got the sporty red sports horse that is the stallion, and he can command the passion that the stallion has for his movement and carrying the chevalier uh, on as well. Um, there's a bit of wildness in the passion and in the energy. But if you stay with your steed long enough, you can learn how to control it telepathically. That's how we talk to animals. Just at a boy, at a boy. Way to go, pig. Way to go. That'll do. Uh, and then you end up with the Queen of Swords. So um, I don't think you have to convince the Queen of Swords to bring more people into your life. You just need to convince her that um, the more relationships that you have with people won't confuse you. Um, I have a problem of when I see somebody outside of the locale where I expect to see them, that I have a problem with the recall of the name, or gosh, I should know him. Where do I know him from? Is it church? Is it this club? Is it that bar? Is it you know this place that I worked? And if they're not in that setting, um, instant recall doesn't come to me because it's the last um, all but the warehouse job. The last three positions I had were in HR, and I did HR and payroll for many, 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 many employees. They came and they went, and some of them came and went from one place that I worked to another place that I worked. And I wouldn't have big influence, but I could at least tell the general manager what I knew of their work and their ethics from previous places that they were employed. So I think that, yeah, you don't have to convince the queen. Uh, that you need more people in your life. You have to be able to convince her that you can take care of relationships and deal with the infighting of maybe people who don't like each other, but they both are, are mutually attached to you. So you've got to use a lot of diplomacy to keep up with new relationships that come into your life. And so, did that help, Josh? Or was that just a midnight rambling? I'm glad because sometimes I don't know if I help or not. I tend to ramble and can confuse people. So, is there, excuse me, I forget my computer's not a touch screen. Sorry about that. I had gleeked a little. Josh, what hours are you free during the day? I would like to do uh, a call with you at least in. Yeah, it's like when you smell or see something vinegary and your mouth pre-waters. I call that or shoots saliva. I call that a gleek. Yeah, if you ever saw Jonathan Jonathan Groff singing Hamilton as the king, the Mad King. Um, he's a spitter when he sings, but it's he's the comic relief in Hamilton. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, Gleek was popular when Psych was popular. Want this? Psych. After 6, Monday through Friday, or anytime Saturday and Sunday. Your mama. Uh, did, Stand By Me has the best quote about, and then your mother looks it up. Shooting down someone's mother was always held in high esteem amongst friends. Um, yeah, I've got your contact, and I'll email you my phone number. Just just be warned that I answer the telephone for numbers that I don't know. If I hear the words Trump or Medicare, I'm hanging up. Mosaic, what up, sister? You've been eating gummies, haven't you? Oh, and they both happen to be based on short stories from the same book. Oh, not tonight? Well, you don't have to work in the morning, so are you gonna come in, Ron? Don't bring your other boyfriends in. Hi there, baby. You want come on, come on. This is Ron. How you been? Yeah, you don't come see me very often, do you? Okay, well, that's Mo. He's ready for Sir Cole to smell his booty coming through the last year. Well, Ron is short for Rhonda, so we had to put an H in there. I didn't know how to sex a neutered cat, so I'd been calling it Rhonda for about a half year. He won the lottery. He was just a complex cat that hung around, and once you feed them, they're yours. But Ron was not affectionate towards me um, until after Hershey stayed with me. And then when I had my illness last May and was in the hospital for 10 days, and my friends were coming in and, feeding him daily and scooping litter and making sure he was fed and watered and had a little company. When I got back, he was so clingy. He would not let me out of his sight. He decided that he didn't want to be alone for 10 days without me. Never again. Don't do that to me again, Dad. Meow, 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 meow. So he was happy that I came home, and I was happy to see him. So Mo, at the beginning of this, we I did news for 5-year-olds, um, and why the news affects them or how it affects them, uh, and just taking random questions. So if you want a reading, put your question in caps. Other than that, we're just chatting and chilling. They're testing me on my uh, 70s and 80s TV knowledge. So, if you went on the game show Jeopardy, what would be um, your dream category to show up on the board? Would it be American history? Would it be world history? Would it be minerals? Would it be rocks? Would it be geology? Would it be geography? Not a strong suit. I'm just getting to know where all these war torn countries are located in relation to each other, but I don't know how. how they fit in the big picture of Europe and Asia and Africa quite yet. So, Grateful Dead songs. Oh, that sounds like a very niche category. You would uh, definitely wipe me out. But if I put my cousin Mikey in for a pinch hitter, you might have a battle on your hands. Michelle Pfeiffer can't sing unless she sings Miss Baltimore Crab in Hairspray. Yeah, Rossi, when earlier when I said I'll take worthless trivia for 400, Alex. Uh, Worthless trivia would be my dream category on Jeopardy. Grease is a generational masterpiece. Me and my uh, childhood pal went to see Grease. We weren't old enough to drive, so the mothers went with us, and they sat together, and we sat together, and we were just going because they were just yucking and giggling, and apparently they knew the time period. Ron, you going out? I want you back in by 2. I don't have to send you out with a yondom because you've been clipped. Don't give me them crusty looks. Yeah, well, why would you remake a masterpiece? I mean, it's not like the Batman franchise or something like that. It caught the right time. It put 30-year-olds, cast 30-year-olds as teenagers, and had several anachronisms uh, included in it. Uh, it was it was a fun movie to pick apart, and it was a fun movie to sing along with. Dun 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 dun. I've never seen a on Broadway musical, but I have seen traveling off Broadway shows come through both Houston and Iowa City, Iowa, and San Diego. Um, Even the small town that I lived in, at least we had University of Iowa nearby, and they had um, a vibrant theater community where touring productions would uh, stop for several weeks. Hickey from Kinnicky is like a Hallmark card. I've been to River City, Iowa, also known as Mason City, Iowa, and the from the time it takes the train and the song is over and he's in River City, Iowa, he'd have about another hour to be on that train to get to Mason City because it's pretty much central Iowa. Well, I watched, but what musicals did I watch? I watched reactions to the parts 1 and 2 of the new Wizard of Oz film, Wicked. Uh, I watched the original Fiddler on the Roof a couple months ago, and then I watched some um, taped local productions of Fiddler on the Roof, and uh, it's no matter who does it, um, it brings a sense of community, even if the wrong a different ethnic group than Ashkenazi Jews um, are not the characters. You know, I saw a Hispanic production, I saw an Indonesian production, I saw a Japanese production, and I heard that it ran for like 4 years in Tokyo. So it is, even though it's culturally different, it resonates to people of all cultures and all faiths. Yeah, I think I've seen Phantom in 4 different locations. At the I think the Pantages in Toronto, um, Seraphim Hall here in Houston. Um, I saw it somewhere in San Diego, and then I saw it in the Queen's Theatre in Sydney, Australia. And you know, each theater has a different setup. So you know, the breathtaking moment when the apparatus crashes on stage um, is very theatrical, depending on how the theater is built out. And I think the most perfect theater was the Queen's Theatre in Sydney, Australia, because it was a period theater with all um, the plaster moldings on the ceilings and you know the rich burgundy velours or what do they call that? It's not velour. It's what they make the homecoming velvet. You know, all over. I saw Jesus Christ Superstar in Sydney as well, but in a different theater. Yeah, that was one of the 2 places I was, fortunate enough to travel to for work. I stayed, like, 6 quarters in Sydney. The work permits were, 90-day work permits, so I'd have to come home for at least 2 weeks, before going back. So it was a year and a half total. Um, and I love their work ethic because they don't really have a 40-hour work week, and uh, they would be pissed if they had to go to work on a weekend. So 6 weeks of vacation annually if they've been with the same company for more than 10 years. At their 10-year anniversary, they get a 12-week vacation called long service leave. But you have to serve that 10 years continuously at one company. I don't think I've lasted at one company for 10 years in my entire career. And then South Africa for 14 weeks, at a very special time in their history. It was de Klerk was still president in 1994. Um, Never seen Cats. Never seen. I've seen the movie Kiss of the Spider Woman, but not the musical. Ooh, Mandy Patinkin. Uh, I do not think that word means what you think that means. My name is Inio Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. What do you mean? Your job walked out on you? You didn't walk out on your job? That sucks. Did they pay you accrued vacation or did you just get screwed out of it? Because every time the hotel changed management every 2 years, I got screwed out of my vacations. The new management didn't have to buy you out or anything. And then since I was the acting HR person, I'd I'd have to fire myself from one company and then interview for my position in the next company all the time doing the paperwork to take care of the terminations and the rehires. Yep. I think we all have that in common. My IT job was just 2 weeks shy before I. Oh, cool. Yeah, there was no severance because I walked out on them. I was pissed. They screwed me over and left me hanging out to dry too many times. Um, so good riddance to bad rubbish. And do you still usher or security at Red Rocks, Josh? It might it might not be warm enough for the season yet. And I think that's where my cousin Mikey saw the Grateful Dead on his 3-year tour, being a groupie. Jerry Garcia was his hero. Well, thank you for keeping me company and asking your questions. Um, if you didn't catch all of the news for a 5-year-old, um, watch afterwards and rewatch, and then give me a comment on what I should do for my next uh, unannounced live. Ooh, Party Casino. I love to be a roulette dealer. you're tired at the end of it, but I love the tactile of playing with all the chips. But it does annoy me when people shuffle the chips together in a riffle. Um, I'm noise sensitive. Yeah, it's time for me to go to bed since I was up all night and all day as well. And Rhonda just came back in, or Ronnie came back in, getting some food. So I bet he'll be glad to go back to bed. Thank you for your birthday gifts, Rossi, and thank you for being moderator when we need it. Um, your your friendship and your help is so valuable to us. And Josh, I'll get my phone number to you, and you can call me and just expect to hear me say, "I better not hear the words Trump's or Medicare, or I'm hanging up." That is the standard call answer if I don't know your phone number. But is are you a 303 area code? Yeah, I've got the Mr. Floyd's at Gmail. Well, thank you. And any suggestions, any comments that you have, make sure you put it in the comment section. 513. Okay, I'll try to file that and not 86 it accidentally. Um, yeah. Any suggestions on content or what I can do? I'm thinking of pick a pile readings. I'm thinking of zodiac readings, but I don't know how often I want to do them. I want to get back to card of the day readings with a clarifier. Um, I know that's way too broad and general for everybody, but it's like a collective message. But I frame the card of the days as being the message for me. Um, I usually get the message of patience quite often, the hangman or the hermit. Um, oh, that's the Cincinnati area code. But 303 is a Denver area code, is it not? Yeah, I thought it was a Denver area code. Um, you know, back when I didn't have a cell phone and I worked for the IT company, when I was in town, I did customer support, and I had so many phone numbers memorized. We didn't have a phone system that had speed dial, but and then one day it just clicked with me. It's like, why am I loading my head with all this trash? I don't need to know 100 client telephone numbers by heart. Uh, and cleared them out, make room for nonsense. So I'll I'll see you again next time. Remember, be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and go out and make it a great night. Goodbye, everyone.